Welcome to I Told My Story channel. I'm Oliver. One day, I was almost arrested at the grocery store because of my right hand. How? My right hand moves on its own, and I'm completely right-handed. While I was grocery shopping, my right hand suddenly started putting chocolates in my pocket, right in front of the security guard. "Hey, what are you doing?" I heard a voice and turned my head. The security guard was standing there, frowning at me. This is a misunderstanding," I quickly said. "I didn't put the chocolates in my pocket. My right hand, my hand, it did." The security guard squinted his eyes and asked sarcastically, "Did the chocolates just magically jump into your pocket?" "No, actually, yes," I said. I have a right hand, but how should I explain this? It moves independently of me. I have alien hand syndrome." The security guard paused for a moment, then took a deep breath and said, "Okay, that might be the most ridiculous excuse I've ever heard. You're coming with me to the office." "Oh, wait, hold on a second," I said. Panicking, I pulled out my phone and tried to find the report from my doctor. I showed the report on the screen. "Look, this report explains my condition. Alien hand syndrome is a real thing." The guard glanced at the report, then raised his eyebrows and said, "So it's true." But then he added, "Still, this doesn't change the fact that you are trying to steal chocolates from the store. I'm joking, haha, calm down. It seems like you're in a tough situation." I took a deep breath. "Thank you. Honestly, this situation gets me into trouble quite often." This incident is just one of the many challenges I face with my right hand. If you've never heard of it before, let me explain briefly. In medical terms, it's called alien hand syndrome. This rare condition occurs when certain areas of my brain can't control my right hand. It's as if my hand has a will of its own. Sometimes it moves entirely on its own and puts me in difficult situations. This condition affects many areas of my life. For instance, on my first day of high school, I didn't know anyone yet because I was new. While walking down the corridor, my right hand suddenly moved on its own and slapped a bully-looking guy passing by. As I looked around in shock, the bully, who I later learned was named Jason, turned to me angrily. "What are you doing? Are you attacking me?" he shouted. No, I swear, this isn't under my control. My right hand, it moves by itself," I said as the words tumbled out of my mouth. I was trying to control my hand, but it was disobediently waving in the air. Jason approached me, grabbed my hand, and said, "So your right hand moves on its own, huh? Let's see how strong your right hand is." He tried to bend my hand, but my right hand responded by slipping out of his grasp and slapping his face again. Jason stepped back with a mixture of surprise and anger on his face. You're really pushing your luck," he said. A few students around us couldn't help but burst into laughter. "I swear, it's not my fault," I said, looking around for help with my eyes. Just then, a teacher arrived. "What's going on here?" he asked sternly. Jason quickly explained the situation to the teacher, but of course, the teacher didn't really care about what I said. "There's no place for such behavior here," he said, sending me sternly to the administration office. At the office, the vice principal listened to what had happened and said, "You were almost suspended for a week," with a serious expression. "But when I saw your doctor's report, I understood the situation. Still, you need to be careful to ensure this doesn't happen again." Thanks to my report, I avoided punishment, but I once again realized how difficult these experiences were. One day in class, during a lesson, my right hand was up to mischief again. It suddenly started moving and began slapping my face. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. It felt like someone else was hitting me. At that moment, the class erupted in laughter, and everyone was watching me, laughing. A girl shouted, "He's slapping himself! How funny!" I was struggling with my hand. No, this isn't funny! Please stop!" I said, but my right hand wasn't listening to me. The class was filled with teasing and laughter. Even the teacher seemed unsure of what to do, with a puzzled expression on his face as he watched me. "Oliver, what are you doing?" the teacher finally asked. "I'm sorry, sir. My right hand, it moves independently of me," I said, trying to explain the situation. The teacher frowned. "Oliver, stop doing that." "Sir, I'm not doing it," I said helplessly, but my right hand kept moving uncontrollably. This only made the other students laugh even more. The teacher warned me again. Oliver, I'm telling you one last time, stop it. This isn't funny at all. Sir, I swear I'm not doing it, I said, but my right hand just kept moving as if it was playing a game with me. Finally, the teacher couldn't take it anymore. Oliver, get out. You're expelled from the class, he said. I walked out of the classroom with my head down, feeling ashamed and helpless. A little later, the teacher learned about the situation and called me to his office. Oliver, I didn't know you were ill. Please forgive me. I didn't know what to do at the moment, he said with regret on his face. It's okay, sir. This situation can really be difficult at times, I said with a slight smile. One time, I was sitting on the subway when my right hand suddenly grabbed the newspaper of the man next to me. The man looked at me in surprise, and I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry, this isn't my fault. My hand, it moves on its own, I said hastily. The man, taking back his newspaper, chuckled slightly. I've never heard such a strange excuse, but okay, no problem, he said, but I know I can't always be this lucky. One day, I was sitting in a cafe with my friends. We were having a pleasant conversation when my right hand suddenly reached towards the hair of the girl behind me. Don't do it, oh my god, I thought to myself, but my hand didn't listen to me. It grabbed her long, blonde hair tightly and started pulling it. The girl's screams echoed in the cafe. Ah, what are you doing? Let go of my hair! The girl shouted in shock. Her boyfriend immediately stood up. Hey, what are you doing? He said, moving towards me. Panicking, I didn't know what to do. I'm not doing it. My right hand, it moves independently of me, I said, trying to explain the situation. But things were getting worse. My right hand was still holding on to the girl, refusing to let go. Her boyfriend's eyes were filled with anger. Does hair just pull itself? Are you serious? He shouted. Then he suddenly took a step towards me and said, I'm going to teach you a lesson. At that moment, my friend David stepped in. Wait, calm down. Really, Oliver's hand moves on its own. It's a disease called alien hand syndrome, trust me. The girl turned to David in surprise. What? So this is a disease? She asked, shocked. David quickly took out his phone and opened an article, showing it to the girl. Look, here's an article about the condition. Really, it's not Oliver's fault. Her boyfriend was still skeptical, but the girl started to calm down. So is it true? You have a disease? She asked, looking at me. Unfortunately, yes, I said with embarrassment. This situation is difficult for me too, believe me. The girl paused for a moment, then started to smile. Okay, if that's the case, you're forgiven. But it would be better if you don't get near my hair again. During the summer, I went to an interview for an internship at a major tech company. This opportunity was very important to me because I wanted to start my career in this field. As soon as I entered the room, I walked towards the manager's desk. The manager smiled when he saw me. Welcome, Oliver, he said and extended his hand. I immediately extended my hand as well. But at that moment, my right hand went out of control. I grabbed the manager's hand tightly and didn't let go. In fact, my hand started shaking his hand up and down involuntarily. The manager raised his eyebrows slightly. Oliver, would you mind letting go of my hand? He asked in surprise. I panicked. Sorry, I'll let go right away, I said, but my right hand kept shaking his hand. In my mind, I was thinking, please, not now. But my hand wasn't listening to me. The smile on the manager's face quickly disappeared. Oliver, please let go of my hand, he said, clearly uncomfortable. I don't know how to explain this, but my right hand, this hand, sometimes it moves outside of my control, I said, sweating. I'm really sorry, I'm trying to let go. But my right hand was still shaking the manager's hand. Finally, the man managed to pull his hand away and looked at me in shock. Oliver, I'm not sure if you're suitable for this job, he said, his smile completely gone. Our interns need to have full control over their hand skills. At that moment, I realized that this job interview had turned into a complete disaster. I understand, I said and quietly left the room. In conclusion, even though I don't love this adventurous life with my right hand, I have to get used to it. There's no known cure for this condition right now, and I have to learn to live with it. If you ever see me arguing with my right hand on the street, just know that I'm just trying to cope with my own life.
Welcome to I Told My Story YouTube channel. I'm Maya. Everyone was filled with sorrow as they stood around my grandfather's coffin. Some were crying, others were praying, but I, at the most inappropriate moment, started to laugh. Grandpa is wearing his Superman costume. Oh, now he's flying into the sky. Why am I thinking of these things? Maya, is this really the time? Maya, please, this is a funeral. Stop laughing. Maya, be serious. This is not the place for jokes. Brother, you know about Maya's condition. She doesn't want to laugh, but she can't help it. My laughter wouldn't stop. Tears were streaming down my face as I tried to suppress the waves of laughter coming from deep within me. But it was no use. Do you know why these fits happen? It's because sometimes I can't control myself. In medical terms, it's called pseudo-bulbar effect. It means my emotions explode involuntarily. I can start laughing even when I'm sad, or vice versa. That's why I find myself in such bizarre and misunderstood situations. One day at school, it was my turn to give a presentation in class. The topic was quite serious. World War II. Just before I started, I glanced at Alex and suddenly imagined him as a clown. A big red nose, colorful hair. Maya, is this really the time? I scolded myself, but the image wouldn't leave my mind. I pulled myself together and began the presentation. Today, I will talk to you about the causes and consequences of World War II. The war began in 1939 and caused widespread destruction across the globe, especially Germany's. At that moment, my eyes fell on Alex again. This time, I imagined him as an even funnier clown. I couldn't hold back and burst into laughter. I'm sorry, but... Maya, that's enough! This is a serious lesson. Stop laughing and sit down. I'm sorry, teacher. I'm really sorry. May I continue? The teacher nodded angrily, and I resumed my presentation. Unfortunately, my eyes drifted back to Alex, and the clown image became even funnier this time. I couldn't maintain my composure due to Germany's attacks. Alex, you're really funny! Maya, that's enough. Sit down immediately. I sat down in shame. Everyone was staring at me, but I couldn't pull myself together. Finally, the bell rang and the class ended. Alex came up to me, a look of irritation on his face. What's wrong, Maya? Why do you keep laughing at me? By the way, you got a bad grade on your presentation. Alex, I'm sorry, but... that face again! Alex was taken aback, but I was once again caught in an uncontrollable fit of laughter. The more I tried to stop myself, the harder I laughed, making the situation even funnier. This moment would be unforgettable for both Alex and me. After the incident in the classroom, my teacher called my parents to the school. My father and I walked into the teacher's office. My father was a bit tense, and I was still fighting the urge to laugh as I recalled what had happened. Maya's behavior today was unacceptable. Laughing continuously while discussing a serious topic like war disrupted the class. It was completely disrespectful. At that moment, I looked at the teacher's face and started imagining him as a Viking. A big horned Viking helmet on his head, a long braided beard on his face. The urge to laugh swelled up inside me, and I struggled not to burst out laughing. Has the teacher turned into a Viking? Oh, this is ridiculous. I mustn't laugh now. But I couldn't hold it in any longer and started laughing, covering my mouth. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look, she's still laughing. This is completely unacceptable. Teacher, Maya isn't doing this on purpose. She has a condition called pseudo-bulbar effect. She has trouble controlling her emotions. We should have informed the school earlier about this. That was our mistake. Meanwhile, I was still looking at the teacher, unable to stop laughing. The Viking helmet kept spinning in my mind. Viking! I understand, but this is causing a big problem in the classroom. Yes, we are aware of that. We will be more careful from now on and provide the necessary information to the school. But I was still looking at the teacher and laughing. I understood the seriousness of the situation, but the funny image wouldn't leave my mind. As my laughter echoed through the room, the conversation came to an end. My family signed me up for a gym to help me focus and reduce these laughing fits. Maybe some physical activity will help you clear your mind, they said. So, with some hope, I went to the gym for my first workout. My coach was a stern-looking, muscular man. The determination in his eyes showed that he was disciplined in every way. We're starting on the treadmill, Maya. Come on, pick up the pace. I got on the treadmill and started running. For the first time, I wasn't thinking about anything else. My brain was focused solely on running, and it was really calming me down. I think this is working. I'm just focusing on running, not thinking about anything else. Maybe the sport will actually help. After the run, the coach called me over. With his stern and determined expression, he looked me in the eye. Now we're going to do some jumping exercises. Come on, let's start. I started jumping. Everything seemed fine until a strange image suddenly popped into my head. I imagined the coach as Super Mario. A red cap on his head, a mustachioed face. This is so ridiculous, I thought, but the funny image wouldn't leave my mind. Oh no, he looks like Super Mario. I mustn't laugh now. But I couldn't hold it in and burst into laughter.
What's so funny?
I'm sorry, really. I'm so sorry. Let's continue.
Alright, let's go.
We started jumping again, but this time it was even funnier. I imagined the coach as Super Mario again, and the laughing fit returned. Tears were streaming down my face, and I couldn't stop.
That's enough. The lesson is over. We'll try again another time. You can leave now.
I lowered my head in shame and left the gym. I tried not to see the angry look on the coach's face, but I couldn't suppress the laughter inside me. It seemed that the gym wasn't going to be a solution for me either. No matter what I did, these fits wouldn't leave me alone. As the weekend approached, something unexpected happened. Just a few minutes before the end of my class, my crush, Kevin, came up to me. Shyly, he asked,
Maya, would you like to go to the movies this weekend?
My heart was about to jump out of my chest. This was a big deal for me. It would be the first time Kevin and I did something together. I immediately agreed, but I was also a bit worried. What if I had another laughing fit? Saturday arrived, and Kevin and I went to the movies. At the beginning of the movie, everything was fine. But then came a very emotional scene. The main couple confessed their love for each other with tears in their eyes as they hugged. Just then, I felt that familiar tingling. Please, Maya, not now. Kevin is here. Control yourself. But unfortunately, it didn't work. While watching that romantic moment, I suddenly saw the couple's face as giant laughing emojis. It was so absurd that I started giggling. I tried to hold it back, but I couldn't. As my laughter grew louder, other people in the theater started turning around to look at us.
Maya, what are you laughing at? Is everything okay?
He asked, a bit concerned. Meanwhile, a woman next to us turned to me angrily and said, "What's so funny? Be quiet," with a stern expression.
Maybe we should leave, Maya,
he said, slightly embarrassed. I nodded and agreed, and we left the theater together. Kevin suggested,
maybe we should go to a cafe.
Noticing the embarrassment in my eyes, I smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, that would be nice, I said. Then we started walking toward a cafe together. At the cafe, Kevin took a deep breath and looked into my eyes.
Maya, I have something to confess. I've had feelings for you for a long time. I'm in love with you,
he said with a determined expression. At that moment, I tried to focus on what Kevin was saying, but a ridiculous image appeared in my mind again. I suddenly imagined Kevin as a giant teddy bear. His eyes were sparkling cutely, and there was a huge smile on his face. It was so funny that I couldn't hold back and started laughing.
Maya, are you okay? What's so funny?
He asked, disappointed. I'm sorry, really, but... I managed to say with difficulty. Kevin's face fell. He stood up, looking at me angrily.
I didn't expect this, Maya. I think it's better if we end this before it even begins,
he said in a detached voice. Wait, I can explain. But my laughter wouldn't stop. Look, you're still laughing, he said, even more irritated. Amidst my laughter, Kevin left the cafe without saying another word. I was left there, alone, unable to stop laughing and trying to make sense of what had just happened. I should tell you that I'm not the same as I used to be. I've been seeing a psychologist for a long time, and I'm learning to control my laughing fits, or at least trying. Now, I want to do a little challenge with you. The first to laugh loses. Are you up for the challenge with me? Okay, let's start. Are you ready? Oh, I think I lost. Well, what can I do? But if you didn't lose, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and support us. Maybe I'll win next time. See you. Bye. Welcome to I Told My Story channel. I'm Emma. When I heard my father's voice, I was in the vast garden of our mansion. In front of me was a car covered with a red cloth. My father approached me with that familiar, mysterious glint in his eyes.
Are you ready, Emma? Are you excited to see your gift?
He asked, his voice cheerful and expectant. I smiled, trying to hide my curiosity, but with a slightly indifferent attitude. Yes, Dad. Let's see what you've got for me this time, I replied. When my father slowly pulled back the cover to reveal the car, my eyes widened in surprise. A shiny pink Ferrari was in front of me.
I had this custom made for you at the Ferrari factory. This pink color doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, and it won't be made for anyone else,
my father said proudly. Then he looked into my eyes and added,
You can start driving it once you get your license, my dear.
Thank you so much, Dad, I said, at a loss for words in the face of such a grand gesture. But my father didn't leave me in that dream world for long.
But as you know, you can't tell your friends or anyone else about this car,
he added,
his tone growing more serious. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't seem that excited, right? The reason is actually quite simple, yet complicated. My father believes that our wealth should be kept hidden from the world. That's why he doesn't want me to share anything with anyone. All the servants in our house live in, never interacting with outsiders, and social media is strictly forbidden at home. You might not believe it, but I don't even have a smartphone. I still use one of those old Nokia phones. It feels like there's a huge wall between me and the outside world, as if I'm living in a different reality. I can't share the wealth we have with anyone, anywhere. I was sitting with Sarah and Emily. The conversation, as usual, was about the luxurious activities they had done over the weekend. Sarah, her eyes sparkling, started talking. This weekend, my dad took us to a ski resort in Switzerland by helicopter. It was incredible. I snowboarded all day, she said, a proud smile on her face. Emily immediately jumped in. Yeah, I've followed you on Instagram all day. It looked amazing. We went to Paris on my dad's jet this weekend and shopped all day, she said, as if it was just a regular weekend activity. Sarah turned to Emily, laughing. I saw it on Instagram, girl. How did you carry all those shopping bags? She said, and they both burst into laughter. Then Sarah, with a slightly mocking tone, turned to me. So, Emma, what did you do? She asked, her eyes scanning me with curiosity. I hesitated for a moment, then, trying to hide my excitement, said, Well, my dad got me a custom-made Ferrari. You should see the color, girls. It's an adorable pink. It's the only one in the world made just for me, I added, smiling. But the look in Emily and Sarah's face showed that they didn't fully believe me. Emily narrowed her eyes, her tone a bit mocking. Why don't you create a social media account so we can see it? Otherwise, it all feels a bit too vague, she said. Sarah quickly added, Or at least let us see some photos, Emma. Nodding in agreement with Emily. Feeling a bit embarrassed, I asked, You don't believe me, do you? Trying to hide the disappointment in my voice. Sarah and Emily exchanged glances, then simultaneously said, Of course we believe you. But their eyes betrayed the doubt they were trying to hide. Their expressions made me realize once again how out of touch with reality my story seemed. That evening, after the disappointment I felt, I decided to finally do something I had been wanting to do for a long time. I locked myself in my room, opened my computer, and after hours of research online, I ordered iPhone's latest model. However, I planned to have it delivered not directly to me, but to the security booth outside our house. I listed the recipient as the person I trusted most, Oliver, the security guard. The next day, I stopped by the security booth. Oliver greeted me with his usual warm smile. Oliver? I said hesitantly. I bought a birthday gift for my dad and listed you as the recipient for the delivery. Please let me know when it arrives. Oliver, his eyes twinkling, said, Of course, Miss Emma. I'll let you know as soon as it arrives. In a reassuring tone, I felt a bit more at ease. The following day, while I was in my room, our maid, Laura, knocked on the door and entered. Miss Emma, Oliver from security has requested your presence, she said. My heart started pounding. I immediately stood up and rushed towards the security booth. When I arrived at the booth, breathless, I turned to Oliver. Has my package arrived? I asked, unable to hide my excitement. Oliver pointed to a box and said, Yes, Miss Emma, the gift you bought for your father is here. Just as I reached for the box, I heard that deep voice behind me. What a thoughtful daughter I have. My birthday is still 6 months away, but my sweet girl has already bought me a gift, my father said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. My blood ran cold. I immediately looked down, stammering, I didn't want to forget, so I bought it early, Dad, my voice trembling. My father furrowed his brow and said, Is that so? Well then, why don't you open the gift so we can see it? His tone dangerously serious. Dad, I think it would be better to wait until your birthday. I'll open it then, I murmured, but I knew this excuse wouldn't calm him down. My father's voice suddenly sharpened. "Open the package right now," he ordered. With trembling hands, I opened the package and pulled out the phone. My father stared at the box and then at me for a long time, before finally letting his anger show.
You will never do this again,
he shouted. The coldness in his voice caused something inside me to break. Then, turning to Oliver, he barked.
From now on, any packages that arrive at this house will go to me first. If you fail to do this, I will fire you.
Oliver lowered his head and whispered, "Yes, Mr. Michael," his voice barely audible. At that moment, I realized how difficult the situation was for him too. I slammed my bedroom door shut and threw myself onto the bed. I cried for hours, my sobs the only sound breaking the silence of the room. My father's harsh words echoed in my mind. After a while, my door creaked open. Laura, our maid, entered quietly. "Miss Emma, dinner is ready. Where would you like to have your meal?" she asked, her voice softer than usual. I turned to her angrily. I don't want to eat anywhere. I don't want to eat anything. Just leave, I shouted, my voice a mixture of anger and sorrow. Laura stepped back slightly, looking at me with deep sadness in her eyes. "Miss Emma, I'm truly sorry for you. I wish I could help," she said sincerely. Those words sparked something inside me. I locked my eyes on her, and suddenly an idea came to mind.
If you want to help me, give me your smartphone,
I demanded. Laura hesitated for a moment. Her eyes widened. "But we're not allowed to use smartphones. It's one of your father's strict rules, you know that," she mumbled, her voice filled with anxiety. I gave her a look that showed I didn't believe her. "Come on! I know all of you use smartphones. Please, just let me borrow it for a week. I'll even give you one of my valuable necklaces in return," I said, trying to persuade her with my eyes. Laura hesitated for a while, but eventually the lure of the necklace won her over. "Okay, I'll lend you my phone for a week, but please don't tell anyone. And if you get caught, don't tell your father it's mine," she whispered, looking at me with worried eyes. I agreed immediately. In my desperate situation, I couldn't pass up this opportunity. I took the phone from her and handed over one of the valuable necklaces I hadn't worn in years. As Laura held the necklace, a sparkle appeared in her eyes. At that moment, we both knew we were in the middle of a dangerous game, but there was no turning back now. That night, driven by excitement, I sprang into action. With the phone I got from Laura, I created an Instagram account. I added all my school friends one by one, but once the account was set up, I was struck by a harsh reality. I had no photos to share. In social media, this was crucial, but I didn't have a single picture. As I pondered what to do, an idea struck me. My father's custom-designed Ferrari, the stunning pink car that was unique to me alone. This was sure to grab attention. I quickly headed towards the garage, my heart pounding with excitement. When I reached the garage, I gazed at the car. It truly was a work of art. I set the timer on my phone, posed next to the car, and took the photo. I immediately logged into Instagram and uploaded the photo. With great confidence, I captioned it, "The one and only pink Ferrari in the world, and it's mine." This sentence was both a boast and an expression of all the rebellion I had bottled up inside me. Then I put the phone down and lay on my bed. As my eyes slowly closed, I wondered what this new presence on social media would bring. The next morning, as soon as I stepped into school, I felt something strange. Everyone's eyes were on me. As I walked through the hallways, I noticed students whispering and looking at me with admiration. Trying to figure out what was going on, I entered the classroom. Sarah and Emily ran over to me, huge smiles on their faces. Sarah, her eyes shining, said, "We saw your Ferrari. It's truly incredible." I was so shocked I didn't know what to say. "Did you see it last night?" I asked, still trying to grasp what was happening. Sarah laughed. "Girl, your photo went viral. You gained 100,000 followers on Instagram in one day," she said, laughing. Her words shocked me. I quickly pulled out my phone and checked Instagram. I couldn't believe my eyes. I really had 100,000 followers. Hundreds of messages, thousands of likes. It was unbelievable that something like this could happen in such a short time. I was now the most popular girl in school. The next day, I began discreetly posting new photos from home. From the garage, the mansion's garden. With each new shot, my follower count skyrocketed. I was gaining tens of thousands of new followers, and I had become a phenomenon on Instagram. In the following weeks, my popularity on Instagram grew at an incredible pace. Each day, I gained more followers, and eventually I hit 1 million. It was like a dream. Strangers were liking my photos and leaving comments. I was not only the star of the school, but also of social media. One evening, we were having dinner as a family in the grand living room. As usual, my father's authoritative presence was felt at the table, but that evening, he turned to me with a slightly softer tone. "Emma," he said, with an expression I couldn't quite read. "I see you've been very happy lately." Trying to hide my smile, I replied, "Yes, Dad, my studies have been going well, that's why." Just then, our maid Laura entered the room, her face pale with fear. "Mr. Michael," she said in a trembling voice, "there are police officers at the door, and they want to see you." My father hesitated for a moment, fear flashing across his face. He quickly stood up and walked towards the door. My mother and I immediately followed him, running after him. When he opened the door, the police chief standing in front of us turned to my father with a serious expression. "Mr. Michael, you need to come with us to the police station," he said, his voice cold. My father's face turned pale. "How can this be? I'm one of the wealthiest businessmen in this country. What could I have done?" he asked, his voice shaking. The police chief turned his gaze towards me and said the words that made everyone's heart stop. "You'll need to ask your daughter, Miss Emma. The whole world knows about her pink Ferrari." It felt as if the world had collapsed on top of me. I looked down, tears welling up in my eyes, and suddenly it felt like everything had come to an end. For a brief moment, silence filled the room. Then my father's angry voice broke through the stillness. "Emma, how could you do this to us?" he shouted, his voice echoing throughout the house. As tears streamed down my face, my father walked out the door with the police. I stood there, watching him leave, my heart filled with deep regret and fear. Unfortunately, the viral spread of my pink Ferrari photo on Instagram caught the attention not just of social media, but also of the authorities. I had always known my father as a wealthy and successful businessman, but the truth was far different. The source of our wealth was the illegal printing of money that my father carried out in a hidden section beneath our house. Government officials discovered this illegal operation thanks to my viral Ferrari post on social media, and after closely monitoring my father, they finally uncovered the truth. The outcome was devastating. My father will be spending years in prison, and all our assets have been confiscated. I still can't believe he did something so unlawful, and I carry a deep anger towards him. After learning the horrifying truth, my mother immediately divorced my father. Now, my mother and I live in a modest rented apartment. She works as an accountant at a firm to make ends meet. As for me, I've been forced to leave my prestigious school and now attend an ordinary public school. I've closed my Instagram account, but the photos of my pink Ferrari still circulate on the internet. Even though I want to leave that period of my life behind, these images are a constant reminder of the past. Maybe one day, if I work hard enough, I'll get back on my feet and reclaim that car. Who knows? Take care of yourselves, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye!